and taking care of their health with assisted living and at-home care. Hello and welcome to Young Turks, India's longest-running show on startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Shereen Bhan. To talk about the importance of expanding the geriatric care space in India, I'm now joined by Tara Singh Vachani, the founder of Antara Senior Care, Swamijis Roy, co-founder of Imoha Elder Care, and Neil Dsouza, the co-founder of GetSetUp. Tara, Swamijit and Neil, many thanks for joining us here on CNBC-TV18's Young Turks. You know, for years, we have talked about India's demographic advantage, India's demographic dividend. The focus has been on the young population, the young workforce, and somehow there hasn't been much attention on another very important aspect and reality that we need to deal with, and that is geriatric care. It's also a population that's getting older. And, you know, three of you are perhaps a handful of entrepreneurs in India who are trying to address this space, the silver economy, the geriatric care economy. Tara, let me start by asking you, when you set up Antara Senior Living, and of course now Antara is also looking at assisted care services, wholly owned subsidiaries of Max India. What was the thought process from setting up your first senior residential community in Dehradun, you know, with 180 apartments? You're now looking at setting up in Noida, and that's almost double of what you started with in Dehradun. What have been the challenges?
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be the senior most of this panel. We've been at this for 10 years now, slow and steady. And I think we're building this whole concept brick by brick, Shereen, because it is that serious and that important. And essentially, when we started 10 years ago, it was with a vision, and Saumyajit on the panel was part of that dream as part of the Antara team back then. So he knows what I'm referring to. But essentially, it was a dream to impact quality of life for the aging population. Up until us, I think we were have been the lone wolves in this for quite a while. But the idea was that can we find ecosystems, products, and services that take the aging process of seniors to be efficient, progressive, joyful, and happy. And therefore, in that journey, we started with the one residential community in Dehradun. And in 2019, we actually expanded to 3 brand new verticals other than the residences vertical. So not only are we expanding the residences vertical by putting a community in Noida and other parts of NCR and probably other parts of India by next year, but we decided we also had to take from lifestyle all the way up to life care. And the new verticals address essentially that. So there are care homes that deal with pre-op, post-op care, 24/7 medium or short-term care for seniors, home care, as well as medical products. And I think the biggest challenges for us have been 3. One, was really changing the mindset of both the primary and secondary audience to understand that investing in a quality of life as you get older is mission critical. 2, it's been influencing policy and government to understand and recognize this as a sector. And 3 has been probably the ability for people to pay, because insurance ecosystems are not influencing senior care and senior spends. But we're seeing this shift, and we're seeing the narrative change. So it's very exciting at the moment.
You know, I want to talk about the changes that you are seeing, Tara, in just a second. And yes, you know, Swamijit and Tara did work together. In fact, Swamijit was part of the founding team at Antara before he decided to set up Imoha Elder Care. Swamijit, let's talk about your journey and what you're attempting to do and address through Imoha Elder Care.
No, Shereen, thank you. I think it's an extra special privilege to be part of Tara's team and learn so much from a beautiful dream that, you know, Antara got created. My journey in elder care started, you know, about 4 or 5 years before that, when I was heading the senior care vertical at Jones Lang LaSalle, helping a lot of organizations think through their senior living strategy. But I think it's more personal. I think it started with my own mom, my own dad, and seeing the struggles that India's elders face, you know, over the years, and how they're able to manage it from the comfort of their own home. And the word Imoha goes into exactly that. If you turn around the word Imoha, it's a home, and it's the acceptance that India's elders, unlike a lot that has happened in the world, would want to stay in their own home. 99% of India's elders want to stay in their own home. That's what you want to go when you are not well, or you're in a fancy house in Florida. You would finally want to go back to your own home. So how do we stitch all the services that you would otherwise get in a beautiful, facility, beautiful, continuing care retirement community worldwide. How can you deconstruct all those things and be able to stream it into your own home is what Emoha started to build towards. And therefore, whether it is emergency 24/7 support, where today we save more than 350 lives, or it is doing engagement and events using the Emoha app, where we've done more than 3,000 programs now. The whole idea is that stay in your own home, but benefit from the best of care, which is not compromised. So how do we not reinvent the wheel? There is the nearby hospital, there's a nearby, the care ecosystem is there. But how can we have the digital world, the physical world married together, but a unique concept that we've created at Emoha called Emoha Daughters. With daughters, there is a special privilege because 85% of world care needs happen by the daughter. So at Emoha, we've made the Emoha daughter the fulcrum of care, who hold the whole family together and stream in not just healthcare, but also social, emotional, travel, and other support systems into the elders' home. Today, we've got about 30,000 elders in across the country now, 80 cities and towns, where elders are staying in their own home and benefiting from the services. But I think more importantly, Shereen, the thing is about how does this, what seems as a challenge, come out as an opportunity? Because that is really the thing between the work that is being done across all large elder care companies in the country. The opportunity is to look at a 40,000, 50,000 crore market where we can make an impact and a difference in the quality of life, as Tara said. That is really the driving factor.
Yes, and that's absolutely, and that's what I want to dig a little deeper into, that, what is that opportunity, and more importantly, what will be the different pieces of that opportunity, because each of you are addressing different segments, different categories, different needs within that large market. In fact, Neil is doing something completely different from what Tara and you are doing, Swamijit. So let me get Neil into the conversation. Neil, talk to us about GetSetUp and what you're attempting to do.
Yeah, thanks, Shereen. GetSetUp is, just over 2 years old. And while I was looking at your introductory segment, I'm one of those kids who abandoned my parents in Goa and have moved to the US. And, felt like, how do I take care of them so that they can live happy, healthy, productive lives as they are aging in? And what I realized is, there are two categories, right? There's aging in, where people like my parents who are turning 60, 65 are so-called retired, but they are feeling active. They want to learn, they want to meet new people, they want to follow their passions, because they didn't have that opportunity growing up because of the Indian education system and how we grew up in our society. So I was like, what if we create a platform for them to pursue their hobbies and passion? And if they do that, it will increase their mental enrichment. It will increase their physical health. It will also help them connect with new people, so reduce loneliness. But also, they can come on the platform and teach and make some extra money. And so really the problem that we were trying to solve was, how do we help the 60 to 70-year-old live longer so that their, insurance doesn't cover and our health system doesn't cover a lot of the challenges in elder care. If we do something more preventative, we can actually extend the aging process and also reduce the cost of care. So that's kind of what GetSetUp is. It's a learning platform. We have over 2 million people in India who have taken classes in the last 2 years. And they do everything from yoga together. They're doing discussion groups. They're playing games online. They're also doing things in person now, where they're going to concerts and they're going on cruises. So it's really allowing this generation to pursue their passions where they didn't have their opportunity, and thus living healthy lives.
And more power to you and to the people who are actually, taking up this challenge of reinventing themselves post-retirement. I mean, this idea of having to retire from life, it is passé. I mean, everyone's talking about how 60 is the new 30 or whatever the case may be. And I think, we are living longer, and we need to ensure that we do have fuller lives as we progress and age. And Tara, I want to come back to you now to address the issue view of how do we replicate some of these models. Let's start by talking about yours. One, of course, is the assisted living model that you are now looking at. And of course, then you've got the senior communities, senior living communities that you're setting up. How do you make it accessible? How do you make it more affordable? What will need to change so that more people can avail of these services?
So Shereen, I think first of all, more people like Swamijit and Neil need to join hands. I mean, I could think of 3 things that Neil and I and Antara and GetSetUp could do together, and that in itself will have to have a multiplier effect. So Neil, please expect a phone call from me after this. The senior living bit, the residences bit, we have been able to scale up by doing joint development models with landowners who understand that there is a premium financially for them if they partner with unique niche boutique concepts like us. And the government's been, supportive in creating policies around building norms and making it easier for us to create communities, because the fact is that while the world is going digital, and I believe in that as being a huge part of what any industry or category is, the physical proximity of human beings to one another will continue to be the clincher in aging positively and well. And that is why we believe at the fulcrum of everything we do, some level of physical manifestation of spaces and ecosystems have to exist. So I think the government coming in, helping with land, helping with policies, landowners understanding the benefits of this category can really help scale up community living. And then comes the services portion of it with time, where you're able to just do things better with economies of scale and practice. The new verticals are asset light from an Antara point of view, and that actually then helps, transfer that in terms of pricing. So if you look at the difference between the price points that we have in a residential community versus some of the experiences and offers we have in the care home and care at home, it is being able to address a much larger market. We have been able to serve 10,000 patients in our assisted care verticals in a year because they're transactional, they're quick in need, and they're lower in price point. And I think that just by entrepreneurs understanding that this is a huge market, it's a $15-20 billion market, and it is going to get formalized, I think more players will come in and government will support with policies, and that's how we make it scalable and affordable. But the truth is we can't be all things to all people, and for that to happen, it will take its time.
Absolutely, and I think that's a valid point. You cannot be all things to all people, and hence you need more entrepreneurs